Well, ladies and gentlemen, chiefs, counselors, elders, and especially Gordon, thank you for including Hilda and I in this celebration of the efforts of my friend Gordon on behalf of the whole valley, not just the First Nations people, but on behalf of all of us. It has been my pleasure to work with Gordon on several projects. The biggest wins were, of course, NVIT, and perhaps a lesser-known one, the sighting of the Kamloops Connector in the high country north of Nicola Lake rather than straight through the middle of Colshana and Douglas Lake. And if you could have been there with Gordon and I and Mr. Woodward, Neil Williams, my cousin Gerard Guichon, and the Premier of the province, Bill Bennett, and also I think Alec Fraser was there. Tell you, we just left it up to Gordon and Mr. Woodward and Gerard. They handled that Premier better than anybody could, and that's why the road doesn't go smack through the middle of our hayfields. I think, however, that Gordon and I share an addiction. I haven't told you about this before, not many people know about it, but we both have the same addiction. This addiction, which is neither of us has been able to shake, is worse than bingo or booze. I always thought that when we reached a certain age that we could get rid of this expensive urge. But last summer, when I phoned Gordon to find out how he was and catch up on the local gossip, I find out that his habit is still very much alive. You see, our addiction is ranching. He and Albert had been stacking hay bales in 38-degree heat, and he had just ordered an expensive new irrigation pump. You were on a high that day, Gordon, that only a good haystack and the hypnotic click of the sprinklers can produce. Studies show that addictions can be traced to both genetic and environmental factors. This is borne out by the fact that both of our parents and grandparents were also hooked. As a matter of fact, my dad and your grandfather Paul even shared a love affair. They each loved the big black Percheron teams, which they drove during haying time for several summers in the late 50s. In those days, horses still provided most of the power on the ranches, and good teamsters were the kings of the crew. Dad and Paul were great pals. They became fast friends over those long, hot summers. And I remember how they spoiled those horses. So in spite of the ranching habit instilled by Paul, Bernadette, and Albert, Gordon also found time to provide wise leadership and integrity for his band and for the tribal council. Promotion of higher education has been the focus of Gordon's work, but he still hasn't forgotten the satisfaction of plowing, harvesting, and raising good cattle. For you young people there's a lesson to be learned. Education in itself is not your only goal. It is only a foundation on which you build your life. Real success should include service to your community and a career which not only supports your family, but gives personal satisfaction. So Gordon, thanks for your leadership and friendship. I have a token here of our long association that I think you will enjoy, and it's over here. What was happening on our ranch in this picture, we were tearing down an old barn and building a beautiful steel machine shed in its stead. So our foreman there is talking, and I think I can say it just like he did. Big wind come blow 'em away.